Hello again. Academic work at Aboso Secondary School has come to a standstill as the headmaster of the school, Abdullahi Zakaria, was assaulted by a mob of students on the school campus Tuesday night. According to reports, tensions at the school escalated after some students alleged that the headmaster had been seen in a nearby bush burying a fetus. The students claimed the headmaster's action is linked to an abortion involving a student. The headmaster is currently receiving treatment at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. Let's cross over live to the Ashanti region and speak to my colleague Nana Akufo-Addo, who has been following this story. Nana, what can you tell us as we speak right now?
Well, Ken, reports coming in at this point indicate that the Aboso Secondary Technical School has been shut down indefinitely by the Aboso Municipal Assembly. The Aboso Municipal Assembly, led by the police, have also recovered the fetus that was buried, identified by the students to have been buried by the headmaster. That fetus has been recovered by authorities. The headmaster is also currently receiving treatment at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital, as you earlier stated. Academic activities in the school has come to a standstill following this incident, and everything that has been on the academic calendar as at now would have to come to a halt as the school authorities manage the situation and police also commence with their investigation.
We're also getting the indication that some of the students have been arrested. True?
That is clearly true. As at now, the Aboso Municipal Assembly has confirmed that 6 students have been arrested following the destruction on campus. We've been told that they destroyed several staff residents, vehicles and properties with thousands of cities have also been destroyed, especially those that belong to the headmaster involved.
Nana Akufo-Addo, thank you very much. From the Ashanti region, let's now head to the Western region, because the Western and Central Regional Police Command have launched investigations into an explosion at a tailings site in Aboso, near Takwa, that claimed 3 lives and left 3 others injured, with preliminary findings pointing to a suspected illegal storage of explosives. Well, police say the explosion occurred around midday yesterday. That's according to investigators. Workers at the site reportedly spotted a python and alerted the owner, identified as David Kofi Fletcher. He's said to have arrived with a pump-action shotgun to kill the reptile. Police suspect that after a shot was fired, the pellets struck explosive materials believed to have been unlawfully stored at the site, triggering a powerful blast. The explosion killed Mr. Fletcher and 2 other persons identified only as Solomon and Baba. 3 others sustained varying degrees of injuries and are currently receiving treatment. Here's what the police had to say. It says that the Western Central Regional Police Command is investigating an explosion that occurred at a tailings site in Aboso near Takwa yesterday, which resulted in the death of 3 persons and a further 3 people also getting injured. It continues to say that the police personnel immediately responded to the scene following reports of the explosion and commenced investigations. It goes on to say that preliminary investigations is pointing to about 12 hours on the day of the incident. Workers at the site spotted a python and informed the owner, David Fletcher, who is now dead, who reportedly arrived at the site armed with a pump-action shotgun to kill the reptile. It is suspected that after firing a shot, the pellets struck explosive materials believed to have been illegally stored at the premises, triggering the explosion. Well, the explosion claimed the lives of the site owner, David Fletcher, and 2 other persons identified only by their first names, Solomon and Baba. 3 other persons sustained varying degrees of injuries and were rushed to the hospital, where they are currently receiving treatment. The statement goes on to say that the bodies of the deceased have been deposited at the Takwa Municipal Hospital mortuary for preservation and autopsy. The explosion, the statement continues to say, also caused extensive damage to nearby properties. It says that several houses within the vicinity had their window panes shattered, while 6 vehicles parked at a nearby washing bay had their windscreens and windows damaged. The Minerals Commission has also identified or notified and is collaborating with the police as investigations continue to establish the full circumstances surrounding the incident. So that's the statement released by the Western Central Regional Police Command, which also expressed its condolences to those unfortunately affected. Well, the Western Central Regional Police PRO, Assistant Superintendent of Police Beatrice Texan, has been sharing further details.
At 2 p.m. on the 4th of August 2026, the Western Central Regional Police Command responded to an explosion at a tailings site in Aboso near Takwa. The explosion resulted to 3 deaths, 3 injuries. The explosion also caused an extensive damage to properties. Several houses within the community had their window panes shattered, while 6 vehicles parked at a nearby washing bay also had 8 windscreens and window glasses damaged. I wish to make a categorical statement in my capacity as the Western Central Regional Police PRO that only 3 individuals have been confirmed dead, 3 others stable and responding to treatment. The Regional Command also expresses its deepest condolences to the bereaved families and wishes the injured persons a speedy recovery. Again, the unlawful possession and storage of explosives constitutes serious offenses and poses risk to public safety. Members of the public are urged to report any suspected illegal storage of explosives to the nearest police station. Thank you.
That's Beatrice Texan, who works with the Western Central Regional Police Command. Well, let's do some politics this afternoon because the chairman of the governing NDC, Johnson Esierun-Katia, has described the Supreme Court's directive to political parties to allow all members to vote in internal party elections as an expensive adventure. The decision contained in the Professor Frimpong Boateng Nyahotama Klo and Christine Amoakon-Nuama case compels the parties to expand the electoral college from the usual delegate system in the presidential and constituency primaries. Reacting to the ruling on PM Express last night, Esierun-Katia said the party accepts the court's decision but says it will be an expensive activity. Listen to him.
And more on printing of ballot papers, because the delegate system, you would be printing about less than 400,000. But with this 1 man, 1 vote, you are in excess of 1 million to 2 million ballot papers. The Electoral Commission took the view that this was a private election whose costs must be borne exclusively by the party. So every polling station, the Electoral Commission recruited about 4 polling officials. And we had to pay them and pay all the cost of the materials, everything. So Electoral Commission didn't contribute to 1 cedi. And so in the end, in those days, we spent close to 14 million.
In 2014?
2014.
Well, Johnson Esierun-Katia also says government must consider the NDC's proposal for the regulation and funding of political parties.
We are being compelled to help citizens exercise their civic and democratic rights. It sits very well if you ask the state to budget for this exercise so that Electoral Commission can conduct it free of charge. If that can be done, Electoral Commission can conduct it.
Because that will be your biggest cost line, the
yes,
EC.
Yes, if they can conduct it free of charge, then it will help every political party. But again, I've heard people saying that to demand that Electoral Commission should conduct it free of charge will mean that everybody will get up and form a political party and call on the Electoral Commission to go and spend money. And that is why in NDC we have proposed the setting up of an office for the regulation of political parties.
Let's get talking and bring in Dr. Kwame Asante. He's a political analyst. Evans Nimako is the director of elections with the opposition NPP. Tanko Rashid Computer is the deputy director of IT and elections with the governing NDC. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this evening. Dr. Asante, let me begin with you. What do you make of Chairman Hesiedun Ketie's assertion? Good?
Yeah, good afternoon. I think he spoke about the reality on the ground. I remember he's been on the ground for years, so he knows what is in there. My little contribution is that I believe that, yes, it's a difficult one, but it can be handled. It can be handled because I belong to that school of thought who share the view that, look, political party financing must be brought to the table for discussion. We need that so as to support a call like this. And then also, if that works, I also expect that the political parties must also find genuine ways of, trying to fund this from their own resources. One surest way is that those who are coming into the register can be levied to pay for exercising their rights. I'm not sure it should be a difficult one for people who really want to tell the world that they are members of a certain political party. They must be prepared to support the party to exercise this right of theirs. So I think it's a good one. I support the Supreme Court ruling because this is one of the surest ways by which we can deal with some of the excesses relative toward, monocracy associated with political parties. And it can tidy up the whole process for a better takeoff for the democratic process.
Dr. Asante, there's a saying that he who feeds you controls you. Let's assume that a government agrees that they are now going to support the political parties. Don't you think there will be more interference of government in the individual political parties?
Government, the money is not coming from, if it's coming from government, it's all of us our contribution. So government cannot control anything. In other words, in any case, you are giving it to the political party, the Electoral Commission to manage as part of their budget, that this is money earmarked for this exercise, and then political parties will add maybe an X amount of money or nothing, and we'll move on. No government can control anything because government cannot take that decision alone. They need to bring on board the stakeholders, i.e. the political parties, the donors, and the rest, and the modalities will be spelled out in such a way that nobody can control any process.
One of the reasons why the people who sent this to the Supreme Court did was to eliminate vote buying in our voting system, right from the constituency level to the presidential primaries to the MP levels as well. Do you think it will achieve its purpose of eliminating vote buying in our elections?
Elimination completely, yes, may be a difficult one. But our time, I'm sure we can do something about it. But what can be done in the moment is that, look, a lot of money that change hands during elections and electioneering campaigns will cease because now the college register is what? Big one, and then how much do you have in order to spend so as to win political party elections? It becomes a difficult one. So I believe that to a large extent, this is going to lessen the burden and then create that enabling environment for people to compete and compete freely. sometimes when you look at the way resources are dissipated during such elections, it takes away those who have what it takes to support the political core, and that people who have resources are the only one who can venture into that arena and contribute their quota. Meanwhile, they have nothing under their sleeves to share, except that they have money that they can dole out to people in order to get power. So I am in love with this ruling, and I believe that if the political party take their time to look at it carefully and decide to have a dialogue with the stakeholders, we should be able to address some of these lingering challenges that continue to pose as a threat to our young democracy.
Dr. Asante, don't go yet. Let me bring in Evans Nimako. He is the Director of Elections with the NPP. Evans, welcome to the program. What do you make of the assertions made by Chairman Johnson Esiedu Nketia concerning the elimination of the delegate system in internal party elections?
Well, Kenneth, thank you for having me. Good afternoon to Dr. Asante. I think for us as New Patriotic Party, we had made our position clear. We've had as part of our programs to ensure that going into the future, the party will ensure that all card-bearing members in good standing will have the opportunity to vote for leadership of the party. The judgment of the court speaks to election of the parliamentary candidates and presidential candidates by party members in good standing. So you can see that other party leaderships have been left out. I heard Dr. Asante saying that party members must be make payment towards the implementation of this program. Party members already pay dues, but it is true that a lot of responsibility has been placed on political parties. And because it has become a law, if you are not careful, you won't have political parties to exist to promote or sponsor candidates for presidential and parliamentary elections. Because if you are unable to do that, it means that you cannot exist to operate as a political party. This is a judgment that places huge responsibilities on political parties. And Kenneth, this whole one man, one vote by political parties, NDC implemented it in 2015. They were in government. I've made the point also that now they are pushing for it. They are still in government. And I'm happy Mr. Esiedu Nketia mentioned that it is a real expensive venture. But if you want to bring in the issue of state funding of political parties, this is a program that has been discussed by political parties with representation in parliament long ago at the IEA forum. It's been there, except that as a state, we've always had competing needs, and therefore we've not really paid attention to this proposal. All said and done, this is where we find ourselves. I think the New Patriotic Party will soon come out when we have been advised very well by our legal directorate on how this program will be implemented. But you know what? The judgment, I have not had the opportunity of reading. I don't know if you have. It still leaves room for some other things to be done. And Dr. Asante mentioned the modalities. What is going to be the role of the Electoral Commission? What is going to be the actual role of political parties? Who is going to register members of the political party? Is it the political party themselves? What will be the basis? And so all these will have to be done. And so yes, I think that maybe it is the reason why the court said that a certain 1-year moratorium has been given for parties to prepare themselves. We did not earlier support it, but now it has become a law, and therefore we will abide by it. The New Patriotic Party is a law-abiding institution. They've always said that democracy thrives in an enabling environment where the legal framework exists and it is freely implemented. So let's see how it plays out. But I want to put on record that the issue of state funding of political parties has been on the banner by almost all stakeholders who are believers of democracy. And let me also state that delegate system is not anti-democracy.
Okay. Well, Evans, later this year, the NPP, your party, is expected to have your national executive elections. With this latest ruling, that means that there are some changes that have to be done. Will it affect the timeline with which you are supposed to elect your national executives?
I don't think so. I think the ruling, the judgment was clear that it has to do with the election of the parliamentary candidates and presidential candidates. I think that is it. That's why I'm saying that we need to get the benefit of reading the judgments so we could assess the reason behind the decision of the court. So I don't think this is going to affect the election of the new Patriotic Party national officers. We are almost about to do our regional officers elections come 15th and 16th. We'll go ahead to conduct the national officers elections in October 3 in Kumasi. So we are on course. We've prepared enough. We've been in touch with the Electoral Commission and Ghana Police Service. We are set to get all these ones done. Already, we've done the polling station, electoral area, and constituency elections. So we are on course.
Don't go yet. Rashid Tanko Computer is also joining the conversation. He's the Deputy Director of IT and Elections of the governing NDC. Rashid, welcome to the program. I spoke to you a few days ago about this same topic, and you said that you are not in support of government supporting political parties. Now your chairman, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, says that the ruling that happened, quote, is an expensive venture and that we should revisit the notion that government should support political parties. Would you now be in support of it now that your chairman says he wants that to be done?
Well, let me say good afternoon to you and your cherished viewers, and then my good brother, Evans. I think you need to clear the air very well. I indicated very clear, and I was clear in my mind, that look, blanket support of political parties, that one there, we are against it. But we are talking of an issue, specific issue, that has to do with election of parliamentary and presidential candidate. Indeed, if you go and look at our statement of case, pursuant to the Supreme Court directive, paragraph 34 of it, we indicated as NDC that the state, in fact, we're asking the Supreme Court to give orders to the state so that the state will sponsor the election of our parliamentary and presidential candidate. That is what we are asking the state to do. But we are not asking an extension of blanket support to political parties, where mushroom political parties will come out and be expecting state to give them vehicles, state should give them logistics to run their political activities. That one there, we are very clear in our mind. But when it comes to the election, where the orders has been given that we should do universal suffrage for the election of our parliamentary candidate and presidential candidate, of course, that one is conducted by the Electoral Commission. And so we are asking that if Supreme Court orders the state to carry on this exercise, the Electoral Commission will be in a position to help us. Because previously, what we do is that we have to get our resources, go and give to the Electoral Commission to conduct the election for us. But now that the state rule that, look, this is how we want it to be done, we're thinking that the state should absorb that one and create a budget for the Electoral Commission to take care of the election of our parliamentary and presidential candidates. It's different from what I was saying, that the state should sponsor political parties blanketly. No, that one there is completely different, and we must be clear on this.
Okay. Rashid, don't go yet. Dr. Asante is still with me. Dr. Asante, I'll take you back to the Supreme Court ruling, which said that they should essentially abolish the delegate system. You say that it will not completely eliminate vote buying in our political system, but it is likely to reduce it. But there are other school of thought who say that this might even make it worse, because if you previously were paying 1,000 cedis per delegate, you were having to cough up more for more delegates. Is that something that you agree with, that it could potentially even get worse? The solution that we wanted it to curb could actually spiral out of control?
No, I disagree in that. Because if you look at the numbers that will be coming in, nobody, yes, well, I wouldn't say nobody. It will be so difficult, if not impossible, to fund everybody. And that is the wisdom of the Supreme Court. That, look, when we have great numbers coming to take part in that exercise, it's very difficult to, as it were, bribe everybody, induce everybody to vote in one direction or another. Even if it can be done, you realize that the magnitude will go down considerably. And that is what we want. So I think that if the political party takes the trouble to look at the judgment well, and then also plan carefully, they will be able to cope with the situation, and all of us will be beneficiary of this ruling. But if it looks as if that it's going to be political parties will not want to look at it critically and want to, suggest anything loose, then it's going to be very difficult for us to achieve the success. But I believe that the political parties also are suffering in terms of these financing of elections where people, they dole out money for people in order to win political power. So this exercise will go a long way to also alleviate some of their pain and suffering in this area that they are not ready to share with anybody. But people like us who are observing from far away, we know that some of these things are a bother to the people. Some don't have those much resources to be able to dissipate in the manner in which people do. But hey, if you don't do that, you are going to lose votes. So when this one comes into full force, you will realize that it will be difficult for people to support this type of call. And the better it will be for the general well-being of the electoral process. And then it goes towards strengthening the frontiers of the country's democracy. Because democracy that is on sale, democracy that you can buy your vote into election and winning power, is a fake democracy. It stands to fizzle out in no time. And that is what we want to work against. Right.
Another thing that Chairman Johnson Esiedun Nketia talked about yesterday was the third term talks for John Mahama, and he says that he's offended by those third term talks because the president has stated categorically that he is not going for a third term, so he doesn't know why people are still talking about that third term bid. Dr. Asante, do you think it's premature to make such claims, especially now that we have 3 suits at the Supreme Court challenging President John Mahama's eligibility to go for another term? What do you make of that assertion by Chairman Johnson Esiedun Nketia?
Yes, I'm very mindful about the fact that it's before the Supreme Court. But you see, over the years, I have never been a fan of third-term agenda, because if you read from the continent of Africa, a lot of countries are in ruins simply because of this ugly political process of third-term agenda, where people use the law, amend the rules of the game, and create opportunity for political officers who, because of lust for power, they want to be in power forever. I think the 2-term is good for democracies in Africa. If we guard it jealously, and then we do the needful, there will not be any need for countries to endeavor to go on that enterprise. Because 2 terms is enough. If you look at the whole continent of Africa, you can deliver. If you apply yourself very well, you plan before coming to office. But I know, and I always have the hope in our legal system, that the Supreme Court will come out with something that will stand the test of time, and then lay this matter to rest. I am hopeful, and I'm looking forward to the Supreme Court delivering on that. Because for third term agenda, I have learned from so many countries in Africa, and the story is not too good. And it's my hope and prayer that we learn a lesson from this, and then we do the needful to salvage this democracy. There are a whole lot of literature on third term agenda, and the story is not too good.
I'll come back to you. Let me go back to Evans, Nemako. Evans, Chairman Johnson Esiedun Ketia says that this third term agenda is being fueled by the MPP. They say that there's no issue anyway. It is the MPP that is trying to make an issue out of it. Is this so-called third term agenda an orchestration of the MPP?
Well, Kenneth, I think if you want us to have this conversation, you don't need to make reference to Mr. Esiedun Ketia. A look at the 1992 Constitution, Article 62(2). It's clear, and maybe you can let viewers have the benefit of reading it by themselves. Also, when the NDC government nominated some individuals to go to the Supreme Court, we followed their nomination engagement with the Appointment Committee of Parliament. The law is clear, the Constitution is clear. So I don't know where this is coming from, but I can tell you that in the ranks of the NDC, there's a big confusion between the party headquarters and the Jubilee. Why should the New Patriotic Party become a player in this confusion when it is clear in our books? President Akufo, luckily when the good people of Ghana voted for the New Patriotic Party, served 2 terms. We were in government. Nana Danko Akufo-Addo served 2 terms. The New Patriotic Party did not go to court for an extension or interpretation of Article 66(2). So where lies the New Patriotic Party's agenda to create whatever for the NDC? I'm saying that, look at the comments, the narration of individuals in Jubilee, the seat of government now occupied by NDC. And look at pronouncement by the leadership of the party at their party headquarters, i.e. Mr. Esiedun Ketia and their General Secretary, Fifi Kote. So I'm saying that they have own confusion, and at no point will the New Patriotic Party be dragged into this needless conversation, because the 1992 Constitution is clear. And please, when you're having this conversation, it's conversation for those who believe in democracy. Today, the gentleman over there will say, oh, the NDC are preaching for support for political parties. At another point, it has to be placed in context. At another point, they can implement and ensure that all members of the party will pay their dues. They can finance themselves. I've said, and I'll continue to say it, when NDC implemented this program, 1 man 1 vote, they were in government. Today they are in government, and they are pushing for it again. Let us not tweak the conversation that a certain third-term agenda is also being moved. Let's be consistent with the conversation and address issue one after the other. The New Patriotic Party have never been against development or promotion of democracy, but I'm saying that delegate system is not anti-democracy. That's one. 2. What does the judgment seek to cure? Or those who went to court, what were they seeking the court to help cure? You've mentioned monocracy or elimination of a certain monetization of the electoral system. Let me ask you, when the electorate at general election says no road, no vote, how would you describe it? But come to the main conversation. The judgment of the court has placed burden on political parties. Maybe you say that you are taking it from individual candidates to the political party. But hey, let's pause and ask ourselves a question. When you take the ECCI 127, it makes reference to the People's Representation Law. And in it, it states that, if you check the section 5, I think, it talks about offenses in elections.
Okay.
Treating, bribery, and all that have been taken care of. So why don't we implement it? Rather than to create an environment where you are going to rather burden political parties. If parties are not able to comply, abide by the laws, they will fail to exist. And so this is what I would want us to look at. I'm happy that Dr. Ansah said that you may not be able to eliminate these challenges, but you can minimize it. In terms of getting a certain minimization of the challenge, you are also going to create a huge challenge because political parties must live to comply with these directives. It's order. It's the orders of the court. And I'm saying that if you look at the role political parties play in the promotion of democracy, they sponsor candidate to go to parliament, sponsor candidate to become the president. If you do not have political parties, you are going to lose out a lot because, and I can show you a lot of evidence. I mean, the parliament we have now, how many of the MPs are on their own as an independent candidate? That tells you. But let us also look around the world. In other democracies, in other advanced democracies, do they see delegate system as anti-democracy, as a challenge? Let's ask ourselves the question, but I'll crave your indulgence. Let's get access to the judgment of the court and let's delve deep into it and follow the reason of the court. But I think that it's going to be a huge burden on political parties. We should not take steps that will endanger the promotion and deepening of our multi-party democracy.
Rashid Tanko Computer is still with me. He's the Deputy Director of IT and Elections with the governing NDC. Rashid, Evans Nimakon says that there is confusion between the Jubilee House and the NDC headquarters with regards to the third-term bid for President John Mahama. Is that the case?
There's none. There's completely none. It's a creation by the MPP. They are the people. And look, yesterday, our national chairman was spot on the matter. It's a creation of the MPP. They are the people hyping it every day and trying to create issues that doesn't exist at all. In fact, indeed, since 1992, this is the first time we have seen a close collaboration between the Flagstaff House and our Adabraka office, head office of the party. Very close collaboration in terms of implementing our manifesto. Very, very close. Look, this one is not an issue at all completely. Look, the government position on the Constitutional Review Committee report was very clear. Did you see any 3 terms in government position? Did you see that? The government, which was released by the Attorney General recently. What are they talking about? You see, these people, every day, they sit down and create new stories that doesn't exist and want everybody to come along with them. We are so much interested in implementing our manifesto, and that is what we are doing as of now. And indeed, we are all waiting for the ruling to come, the written ruling of the law lords, so that we'll see whether they have agreed to the orders, the prayer that we gave under paragraph 34 of our statement of case, which we are appealing to the law lord to order the state to fund such election, the parliamentary and presidential. In fact, we have done it. The NDC did it. But you see, we know what our opponents are looking for. They are looking for a blanket financial support for their political activities. That is what they are looking, and we are not agreeing to that. We say we only want the Electoral Commission to continue to carry out their exercise through the ruling, which they state that we the political parties must allow our party members to participate in the parliamentary and presidential election. In so doing, the Electoral Commission should continue, but the state should fund that. That is what the NDC is appealing, and it's there in our statement of case. They are against it, and yet they come back and be talking different story altogether. Okay?
Right.
So we are very clear in our mind, and I can assure you there is a peaceful coexistence between the ruling government, which is the NDC ruling government, and the NDC political party. Very, very close collaboration, working together day in, day out. And that is why Ghanaians are enjoying the fruit of their labor as of now, because of that close collaboration between these two bodies. And we are working very close. So there's no difficulty whatsoever. It's an MPP creation, just ignore it.
Rashid Tanko Computer, don't go yet, but let me say a big thank you to Dr. Kwame Asante. He's a political analyst. He joined us earlier. Evans Nimako, thank you also for joining us. He is the Director of Elections with the New Patriotic Party. But Rashid Tanko Computer, stay with me as I mentioned earlier, because I'll come back to you on another topic. But in the meantime, let's hear once again from Chairman Johnson Asiedu Nketia from the PM Express interview, because he has beat a U-turn on his pursuit for the removal of the EC chairperson, Jean Mensah. First, listen to him in the June 2025 interview as well, declaring the entire EC leadership are not fit for purpose over the SAL saga and delayed compilation of some constituency results after the 2024 general elections.
They have never done an election that is satisfactory. These two major elections, the first one constituency went unrepresented for 4 years, and then their second election is this one. And then with the by-elections, Ayawaso West, Wogon, everything has been removed. So there is overwhelming evidence that this commission is not fit for purpose. And if any serious country want to maintain this type of electoral commission, then I don't know what the country is about.
So there will be a change at the EC leadership?
There has to be a change.
Jean Mensah must go?
Yes, I think the three top leadership must all go.
So that will be the chairperson herself and her two deputies.
Yeah.
Jean Mensah, then Boxman Asari, and I believe you've been working, he's not always in the news.
Tete. They must all go. They have mismanaged the commission so badly.
That was Johnson Asiedu Nketia in the June 2025 interview with Evans Mensah. But speaking to the same person, Evans Mensah, last night, he says they are ready to work with Jean Mensah following the resignation and retirement of her two deputies.
Okay, working with her as a political party?
We don't have an option. If the Supreme Court says he should stay, whom am I?
Okay. I mean, last year you were clear that your only option was to get her gone.
No, I was clear that my option was to get her gone even before last year, before the election.
True, before the election, you're right.
She remained and we won the election. So even if I wish her gone and she's still there, it means that we will have to work harder than if she were not there. And we can still win our elections.
Let's also listen to the reaction of Johnson Asiedu Nketia to the conviction of Chairman Wontumi.
They are now trying to use the conviction of Wontumi, which they themselves know is on solid legal grounds with abundant evidence. But nevertheless, they want to use the jailing of Wontumi as a tool for mobilization. The same way they want to get a tool out of this third term and use it to mobilize their base.
The party is hitting the streets on Thursday. They say it's selective justice.
Now I've been saying that is the worst thing any leadership of any political party can subject its party to. It's good for us.
How?
It's painting them as people who are responsible for Galamsey, and because Wontumi must have used the resources to finance MPP, they feel obliged to defend him even when there is evidence that he has done the wrong thing. That is what is happening. Didn't you hear Party Hienska? You heard it. That was when the Galamsey was at his height. Party Hienska, that was it. So they feel that Wontumi having done the wrong thing and shared the money to finance the party, it is their obligation to defend him, whether the public says he has done right or wrong. And those who have followed this case started somewhere in 2013.
Well, still on politics, the NPP says that its August 6th protest is gaining momentum as the People's National Party, PNP, has also signaled its readiness to join the protest, insisting growing political harassment and intimidation of opposition members by state security agencies must end. The protest, themed Democracy Under Attack, will begin at 5 a.m. tomorrow from the community center opposite the Supreme Court and end at the Jubilee House. Well, the opposition party says it will present separate petitions to the Chief Justice, the President, and the Speaker of Parliament, calling for the protection of constitutional governance, judicial independence, and parliamentary oversight. The NPP says the demonstration is in response to what it describes as politically motivated persecution, selective application of justice, and disregard for due process. It is insisting the exercise will be peaceful and has urged participants to cooperate with security agencies and avoid violence. Let's bring in the national organizer of the party, Henry Nana Boakye, for more on this. Rashid Tanko Computer, as I mentioned earlier, is also on the line. He is the Deputy Director of IT and Elections with the governing NDC. Also joining the conversation is Janet Nabla. She's the chairperson and leader of People's National Party. Lady and gentlemen, welcome to the show once again. Let me begin with you, Janet. Why, first of all, is PNP joining this protest?
Well, let me greet you this afternoon and your viewers. I don't know whether you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So we are all living in a democratic dispensation. We expect that a ruling political party that is supposed to play a fatherly role to all political parties is not doing so. Because why would some people who are in NDC have problems and be given some protection, and when it is opposition, those people are giving out to them like bastardize in the public domain? We have decided to join based on two terms. We think that democracy is not selective, and that is what the NDC government is doing. They are selecting democracy because if you are saying that some people in NPP have mismanaged our resources, and then you are here to fight for Ghanaians and people who have mismanaged our resources previously, and the monies can accumulate to more than 10 billion Ghana cedis. You gave them nolly prosequi, and you follow people for 5 million Ghana cedis. You follow people for like 27 million Ghana cedis. You know, people don't know when they talk of billions, how many millions becomes a billion. It's like people don't understand. So we from the PNP, we expected the NDC to fight corruption. And when you are fighting corruption, a political...
Hello, Janet, do I have you?
Political party color. But that is what...
Please go on, I can hear you.
We don't expect any corruption to have a political party color. I don't know whether you can hear me.
I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we don't expect any political party to be wearing, any corruption case to be wearing a political party color. But that is what we saw. We saw that the fight against corruption by the NDC is not actually fight against corruption. It is fight against opposition. If you are an opposition member and they claim that maybe they allege that you mismanage 100 Ghana cedis, they will arrest you, lock you up, and put a whole lot of difficulties in you for you to get, putting difficulties so that you cannot be able to get bail. Your bail conditions will be so abnormal so that you will not be able to meet those bail conditions. And that is what they have been doing. Look at what is happening. You said you are going to lock Wontumi up because Wontumi have committed a Galamsey crime. But we go into the Galamsey since today, and it is NDC people who are there. The people that are there are not any other political party members. It is your MMDCs. As I speak, you, President Mahama, came out to attest that those doing Galamsey, you know they are your party members. You said it. So what is preventing you from using a holistic manner to fight Galamsey, but you are doing selective fights? Why are you doing that? Look at the number of women that are being now imprisoned. A lot of them are at the court, still passing through judgment. We are talking about women inclusivity in our governance system. How can we be able to have women participating when the government is now trying to criminalize free speech? Some of the things that the people they have arrested women for, when I listen to it, it's mind-boggling. Like it doesn't just make sense that someone will say this and they will arrest the person because the person is, they will say that misinformation. You know, even when you go outside the country, there are certain things that people say that to us, we would think that they should have even arrested them, but they will not do it because of the criminalization of free speech. But this party, this political party or this NDC government have gone ahead to just like they are acting wayward when it comes to helping to build our democracy. To me, this is like a military regime tactics they are using, and they are trying to silence not only politicians but also the media. Because about 3 days ago, 2 media personalities were arrested. They said for misinformation. So it is a plan the NDC have carved out because they know that to win the 2028 elections, it is going to be just impossible. So they think that by trying to silence voices, they can be able to propagate lies when they get opportunity, and people will vote for them again in 2028.
Janet,
so
will you be there? Will you be there tomorrow? Will you be there tomorrow?
Tomorrow we will be there. Not only me, myself and my party, we will be there.
How many of your members are going to be there?
Collaboration that tomorrow we should be there.
How many of your members are going to be there? There are even questions that
our members are going
does PMP even have a large support base? Do you have a database of your members? How many they are?
You know, when they talk about PMP, I have heard a lot of our haters go around places to say things. When we were leaving PMP, like 11 regions left with us. When we say 11 regions, it means regional executives, constituency executives, police station executives. When you talk about the population tomorrow that we are bringing on board, we know that we are going to help MPP. So we have a number tomorrow that we are bringing on board to come and help.
How many?
PMP has constituency executives, police station executives across the country.
How many?
I've heard so many people say so many things, and at times it's just always.
Well, there is also accusations and rumors online that Janet Nabla has been paid to be there. Have you been paid by the MPP to be there?
Oh, I've heard about those things. The MPP cannot pay me. The NDC cannot pay me in this country. Look, you know, when people don't know trustworthy people, when people can see people who have integrity, at times it pains me to the core. The MPP, they are in opposition. They don't have money. If I want money, I will go for the NDC. Because the NDC will pay me.
Oh, do I have Janet with me? Unfortunately, we appear to have lost Janet on the line, but my producers will rework the lines to get her back. I understand she's back on the line. Janet, you were making a point when we lost you temporarily. But let's bring in Henry Nana Boakye, who is the national organizer of the opposition NPP. He is going to be leading this protest tomorrow. Henry, welcome to the program. You've described the situation as democracy under attack. What has happened in recent months that, in your view, has brought Ghana to this point that is culminating in the organization of this protest tomorrow? Do I have Henry with me? Hello, Henry. Can you hear me? Welcome to the program. Right, we are still working the...
hello, Ken.
Yes, Henry, I can hear you now. Yes. Did you hear my question, please?
Yes.
Okay.
I did. Henry, we are talking about the criminalization of free speech, and it's assuming frightening heights. In fact, just yesterday, communications officer for the New Patriotic Party in Asante Achim South, Jaso to be precise, he is also a journalist. He was just arrested just when he exited the building of the radio station. As we speak, we do not know his whereabouts. His family is looking for him. And nobody, in fact, and that has been the modus operandi, the unfortunate modus operandi of this government. And it's amazing how His Excellency the President is so pretending over such abuse of power, such decline, excessive decline of our democratic credentials, rule of law, and it's so sad. Look, I recall that President Mahama authored an open letter to Nana Addo Akufo-Addo when he was the opposition leader, where he cited 3 instances which, in his view, makes President Akufo-Addo a president superintendent over the criminalization of free speech. Today, I can count as many as 45 instances. And sometimes you don't even hear of it at all. A gentleman who works with the Aboso municipality was just arrested last week. What was his crime? Because he posted a video of the president and the national security coordinator in which the president was overheard mentioning 150 million. And the gentleman asked in the video that, hey, Mr. President, where from the 150 million? And he's been arrested. He was brought to Accra all the way from Aboso. Another social media activist, General Buhari, he's been arrested. We can count as many as 45. What is happening, President Mahama? And I keep saying that there is a certain cloud of fear hovering over the judiciary. Because it has never happened before. It was unprecedented for a Chief Justice to be ousted. Under President Mahama, they put in a system which ousted the Chief Justice. So now, the entire judiciary, there is that cloud of fear hovering over the judiciary. selective justice. Then President Mahama became president, and he sanctioned, or on his directives, the Attorney General went to court, entered nolle prosequi in some huge matters. You recall the Unibank scandal, Dr. Akufo-Addo and almost about 8 others. The money involved 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. The Attorney General, on the instructions of the President, went to court and freed them. You recall the settlement issue. Honorable Collins Dawda and 2 or 3 others were standing trial for the misapplication and causing financial loss to the tune of almost about $200 million. And just with a stroke of pen, the Attorney General entered nolle prosequi, freeing Collins Dawda and the rest. You remember the Cocoa Board scandal, 271 million Ghana cedis involved. They have all been freed. The snitch scandal, 70 million Ghana cedis involved. They have all been freed. Sedinam Tamaklo was standing trial for causing financial loss to the tune of 90 million Ghana cedis. She sought permission to seek medical attention outside. It was granted. Then she never returned. For close to about 5 years or so, she's been outside the jurisdiction. Just when her party assumes the reins of power, she returns. And we're not even told. It took the authorities in the state to inform us. And quickly, the government had to put together a narrative saving their faces. And now, Sedinam is free.
Henry, Sedina is still in custody, by the way, so she's not free. And also,
but we are talking about the Court of Appeal, in which the Attorney General put in a very weak, very relaxed, very lame, very ill defense.
But Sedina,
I disagree with that judgment. I think that the Court of Appeal did a great disservice to the people of Ghana.
That's fine, but the Attorney General has also filed a stay of execution at the court, hoping that the court will uphold the original ruling. So really, it's not like government is happy for this to happen, because a government attorney says that he does not agree with the ruling and has actually filed a stay of execution and an appeal as well.
But is it not funny?
How is it?
Attorney General, Attorney General under Article 88 is supposed to be the Attorney General for the state, the President's principal legal advisor, and the person is also an NDC member of Parliament. Now, the Attorney General is saying that, look, I disagree with the judgment of court appeal, but all NDC lawyers are saying, hey, we agree. Oh, free Sedinam. It's interesting. You have the NDC legal director, Ediji Tamaklo, celebrating this judgment. Yet you have the Attorney General who is in court saying, I disagree with the judgment. It is all part of the choreography.
Right.
It is all part of it. Selective justice. It looks like we have different sets of laws for MPP and a different one for NDC.
Henry, don't go yet. Let me bring in Rashid Tanko Computer. He's the Deputy Director of IT and Elections with the governing NDC. Rashid, you've been listening to Henry. He says that the demonstration that is happening tomorrow is a culmination of what they say is an abuse of power, the stifling of free speech in this country under President John Mahama. Why is government stifling free speech, in the words of the MPP?
My brother, you see, the MPP, as they are put up together or organized as of now, you remember what happened last year, August 6th. It was a dark day for this country. We lost 8 of our gallant men. Everybody was crying in this country. So that tells you that whatever was going on at that time, they were shedding crocodile tears. Do you know that tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of the death of these 4 gallant men who died in action? Tomorrow, 6th August, is the 1-year anniversary. The state has lined out a number of activities for tomorrow to commemorate their 1-year anniversary. Indeed, yesterday we had a lecture at the Burma Camp Hall to commemorate the loss of these gallant men. Yet, the MPP who at that time pretended they were mourning with us decided that tomorrow, the day that we are going to do the commemorative, the 1-year commemorative of their death, they want to come out and demonstrate on that day. That's what they want to do. And you have my sister, Janet, telling the whole world she's participating in that. Janet, you and I, we are not brought like that from our family. If you are celebrating your grandmother or your mother 1-year anniversary, will you go out and demonstrate on that day? Is that how the Ghanaian family system is brought up? You haven't gotten any day to do this kind of thing. You have decided the day that Ghanaians are going to commemorate that day to come out and do this washy thing that you are talking of. In any case, Janet has been hovering from one TV to another, from radio to another. Have you been picked? Has anybody arrested you for speaking your mind? You just spoke your mind here. You did all rendition, trying to describe how the government is. Has anybody invited you before to come and answer questions for what you have been saying? Because you know your limitation. You have been brought up properly from home. Janet, we have a king, a Mamprugu king. If a woman from that place take a camera to face herself in the night and said, "Go overlord Mamprugu, I'm coming to kill you," you will die. With this, what you are doing, Janet, you will go for that person. You won't even wait for the Nairi palace to invite them. Today, you are speaking on TV because you think that MPP, they are angels. Those people, they will sit down, such people who are not properly read, take cameras on face on themselves and threaten a whole president, threaten people, and then you think that is free speech. Then have they arrested you before? My brother is a lawyer. Nanabi is a lawyer. He's been hovering from one TV to another. Has he been invited to come and substantiate what he's been saying? No. Because he knows his limitation. He knows how to speak. If he's attacking government policies, government issues, fair enough. We can slug it out with him. But when you extend that one to attack people, threatening death, threatening public peace, won't allow you to sleep in your house. Because of your parochial interest, state should allow you to continue making such reckless statements. If you make reckless statements, you will sleep somewhere, you won't sleep in your house. That is what the state is doing. In any case, who is threatening democracy in Ghana? Joy FM. Under their watch, some of your journalists ran away from this country. Tell them, ask them. That one, they didn't see anything wrong with that. Some journalists were killed in this country. Under their watch. That one there, nobody went on the street to do demonstration to say democracy was under attack. Indeed, the former National Security Minister, Honorable Kandapa, had cause to even give warning, that's my word, to the Supreme Court judges at that time that the type of ruling that was coming out from the court, they were not comfortable with it. So Nanabi and Janet, you were in this country. By that time, you were in PNC. You didn't see anything wrong with that. When Kandapa was speaking about this ruling, the type of ruling that was coming out from the Supreme Court, Madam Janet, you were in this country, you were in PNC. So that was democracy was not under attack. What kind of hypocrisy is this? Why are we doing this to this country? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Is that the kind of country we are building? This, our young people who are growing up to take over from us, we are training them that they should threaten leaders. They should come on TV and speak their mind by threatening leaders. TikTok, Facebook, data is not cheap. So phones are now in wrong hands. They just sit down in the night and start threatening people. And you think the security service should fold their arms? Janet, you have children. Oh. I don't think my children, I've trained them that way. To go in and threaten somebody, I'll kill you. You cease to be my child. I can't have such If my sister, let me tell you, if my sister should take a phone, face herself, and threaten the president or any senior person in government or in our traditional norm, I will cease to be a brother to that sister.
Right.
We are not brought up like that.
But Rashid, not all the people who have been arrested are threatening the president. Not all the people that have been arrested have threatened the president. That one, too, you see nothing wrong with it?
Go and listen to their statements.
Well, there was
Janet was talking of women.
Right.
And I'm saying that, look, me, I like women too much because women brought me up. And they trained me very well. So I respect women. But when you see a lady take a phone, face herself, and start threatening the president, and making derogatory statement about this, and you don't see anything wrong with that, you are a woman. Is that the kind of upbringing we are bringing our children up?
Right. You seem to be very emotional about Janet's involvement.
No,
are you disappointed that she's part of this protest?
No, that's why I'm saying that, look, I am not, because that is her right. You get that? Right. It is her constitutional right to decide where she wants to go and join them. By any case, as for MPP, we know what they are going to do tomorrow. You saw it at Yoko. Your cameras were capturing people, telling them that they asked them to come so that they will give them 150 Ghana cedis. It's all over the place. The videos are all over the place. Just recently, another lady, when they went there, because they gave them pepper spray, that she didn't even know that was what they were coming to do. And they promised giving her 150 Ghana cedis. Yeah, and they've started. We are told they are all over the place in suburb of Accra, promising people 200 Ghana cedis. We are following them. That they should come out and help them so that they will get them money, 200 Ghana cedis. Who told you they don't have money? Then people were announcing it there, live cameras. Oh, Muslim member Abeji 150 Ghana cedis. I am a Babeji 150 Ghana cedis. So they are noted for that. They are going to do that tomorrow. They won't stop it. So we are not. Nobody is going to. But I'm saying that we are all in this country. We have seen it before, and we are living testimonies of MPP cruelty against the good people of this country. You saw it when they demonstrated. Arise group people did demonstration. How many of them? They rounded them, all of them up. They rounded them, almost 50 of them. And they even started prosecuting them. But since we've assumed the reins of government, can you count the number of demonstrations they organized? Has anybody been picked during their demonstration? No, we even allowed them. They said they wanted to demonstrate at the Flagstaff House in the night. We allowed them. They went there. They went and they were keeping their vigil. And they finally ran away. Nobody even minded them. So for them, it's their constitution. So long as they meet all the criteria to do their demonstration, fair enough.
Okay.
So long as it's a peaceful one, we have no problem with them.
Right.
But the good question is that it has exposed the hypocrisy embedded in their crying when we lost the 8 people. Tomorrow is the anniversary. 1 year anniversary. When people died, we celebrate it solemnly and pray for them. We are going to demonstrate with people who don't see anything wrong with that. Fair. Now we are watching in this country.
Right, Rashid Tanko Computer, don't go yet. Janet Nabla is back on the line. Janet, I'll come back to you, but let me bring in Henry Nana Boache. You've been listening to Rashid Tanko Computer. He says that you deliberately chose the 6th August day to hold your demonstration because really you didn't care about what happened last year to our gallant heroes. Is that something that you are concerned about? Was the choosing of the date coincidental or deliberate?
Thank you very much. I think after my submission on this, Rashid Tanko will not go this line again. Number one, we chose our date way earlier. In fact, before we even heard that, if I was even when, it was yesterday or so, when I received calls that 1 year anniversary of our beloved brothers, friends, fathers who died. It's tomorrow. And we as a party, we have not been invited. Let me say that we have not been invited. I know that they have sent invitations out to some people. We have not been invited, number one. Number two, Alhaji Rashid Tanko. We had some serious flooding in this country where we lost over 40 people, 40. The following day, the president had a Thanksgiving service. He wore white and he was dancing. I mean, the following day, 40 people. So you are saying that as for the 40 lives, that it is less important. So by that same stretch of argument, I like to say that the president should have postponed the planned Thanksgiving service. In fact, he actually wore white. And he was dancing. Not only that, I think just yesterday or 2 days ago, we had a fatal accident on the Kumasi-Accra Road. Again, we lost over 60 souls. As we speak, I have not cited even a communique from the presidency. I have not. So we are talking about 60 plus 40, 100. Is it the case that you care less about these 100 lives? Is that your position? The president was in air, monitoring the flood situation. He never visited the families of the 40 souls. He never even invited them. So don't go that tangent at all. Don't do that. If you do that, you will regret it. 5 souls lost. Yes, president is caring. He cares about these 5 souls. And 100 souls perished. And we've not heard from the president. The president never shown remorse. What are you talking about? Look, equally, fighting for the dying democracy under President Mahama is equally important. It's equally important. And people just pass comments. Now, all of a sudden, if there is any party that benefited massively from expressing their views freely and openly, is the NDC. Then the president himself said that Nana Akufo-Addo is a thief. His family is a thief. The family, they are all thieves. The family members, they are all thieves. And that they are stealing for him, the president. You, Rashid Tanko, what didn't you say? What didn't you say? And your colleagues at the head office, go back and play some of the tapes. The threats. Are you aware a journalist sat on radio and said that Nanadu should die anytime he gets onto the private jet? Are you aware? Was he arrested? Was he arrested? I now know that Nana Akufo-Addo is a saint. So you think that if President Mahama had promised Ghanaians that when I come, I will free Kwabena Dufo, I will free Collins Dauda, I will free Opuni and Dr. Thompson, you think Ghanaians would have voted for him? Somebody who promised that he was going to uphold the rule of law. Today, under him, we are seeing a massive decline. And everybody is complaining. Look, the last time you saw what your own brother, Samson Ladi, his views, he expressed. Very worrying situation. Very worrying situation. And you are here celebrating that, look, if you speak and you speak recklessly, you are not going to sleep in your house. Look at this. Look at such reckless talk. You, Rashid Tanko, you are saying that if you speak and you speak recklessly, you are not going to speak up. Criminalization of free speech. Look at you saying these things. Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not ashamed of yourself? That somebody should just post, Dumutwa is back. And all of a sudden, the person is arrested from Aguna's bedroom and brought to Accra. For almost 2 days, we never knew his whereabouts. And you are on TV celebrating this. You are on TV celebrating this. Somebody who is posting a video of the president and the national security coordinator when the president is allegedly overhead, saying that 150 million, and the person is asking questions.
Right.
The person is arrested right from Obuasi. Are you happy about this? And you are celebrating this? Where we are now, we are in dangerous times. And that is why can all of you, journalists, your colleague was arrested yesterday. Your colleague was arrested yesterday. I'm in a FM. As we speak, we don't know his whereabouts. And that has become the negative modus operandi of the NDC and the operatives. And I'm surprised that President Mahama sees nothing wrong with this. Look, tomorrow we are going to have a massive demonstration. This is equally important. We are fighting for the dying soul of our democracy.
Okay.
All of us will be part of this.
Right, Henry, don't go yet.
You are talking about 5 lives when 100 lives perished. The president doesn't care about 100 lives. He only cares about 5 lives.
Henry, I'll come back to you to have your final word. But let me go to Janet Nabla, who's the founder of PNP. Janet, why should an ordinary Ghanaian who is not a member of the NPP or PNP join the protest tomorrow? Do I have Janet Nabla with me? You will have to unmute your microphone so we can hear you. Unfortunately, we appear not to have Janet Nabla there. But let me come back to you, Henry. So you're taking petitions to the President, the Chief Justice, and Parliament as well. What do you expect these institutions to do differently? What's going to be contained in those petitions to these individual places? Hello, Henry, do I have you?
Okay, so I'm still on board, right?
Right, Janet, goodness, good to have you back on the line. We've been struggling to reconnect with you. I was asking you that why should the ordinary person who is neither a member of the NPP or the PNP find it necessary to join the protest tomorrow?
Okay. All right.
Hello, Janet, please go on. We seem to have lost Janet Nabla there. She is the leader and founder of the PNP. Rashid Tanko Computer, though, is still on the line with me. Rashid, I'll give you the final word since we've lost the 2 other guests on the line. He's the Deputy Director of IT and Elections with the governing NDC. Rashid, let me pick your final word so that we wrap up this conversation.
You should have asked Nana D. You allow him to make some wild allegations and went away with it. Where did he get the 60 people who died? From, he said, Accra, Kumasi yesterday. And you allow him to make such statement on your platform. Where did he get the figure from? Did you see the statement from STC? STC issued public statement today dismissing all these lies that they are peddling around. And yet you allow him to make such a wild allegation of 60 people dying. You see, they've started their 2000 campaign strategy. Lies to create panic and fear. That accident didn't claim this kind of life he is talking about. Where from the 60? The floodwaters, did you have 40 people die? And you allow him to get away with this? That's the kind of lies they continue peddling around. Now, if he's called to come and substantiate where he got these 60 people dying and all that, then he say they're attacking free speech. I don't know that it's amounting to creating fear and panic among motorists and traveling people. That's the kind of thing they are doing. And you allow him to get away with this. Indeed, the whole country is watching. Everybody is seeing them. And then seeing the kind of desperate and desperation in their minds. This one will never bring them to power.
So Rashid,
they can continue.
So Rashid, you see this as a possible case of effecting an arrest against Henry Nana Boakye, right?
Oh, no. I'm saying that for us, that is not the kind of thing we will do. I'm just giving an example that, look, he's been hovering from one TV to another. Nobody has ever invited him to come and substantiate anything he says. Because he knows his limit. You know he's a lawyer. So he knows how to go about it. And that's what I'm saying. He's saying that when he was mentioning that, I wanted you to have put him on straight proof that he said 60 people died yesterday. And you and I, you are aware, you are a media man, that 60 people didn't die yesterday. It's not true. That's a homunculus lies. And he knows it. And so you should have put him on strict proof. But I'm saying that say things, the party and government, we are not worried with that kind of lies that there, because we can easily dismiss such lies. And the whole public is aware that's lies. But when you move it further to threatening people lies, the first man, the gentleman in the land, you start threatening him and saying that Ghanaians were not brought up like that. We are properly cultured people. So when we started seeing this kind of thing, it's my worrying. We have to be worried as a people. Where is it coming from? Because we are not brought up. Look, we have chiefs, opinion leaders, our traditional area. Can you raise your finger and say such a thing to our chief in our community and get away? We won't allow the police. The traditional authority will deal with you. But because we are now civil society, we have a democracy, the president cannot act unless the security agents who doesn't even need his permission. Because the laws are there. Why do we have the criminal code? Why do we have it?
Right.
And so, if a lawyer is speaking this way, you ask yourself, why? What has come over them? Is it because of petty politicking? You put aside your legal groups and other thing and start doing petty politicking.
Rashid Tanko,
that's what we are bringing our people up.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He's the Deputy Director of Elections and IT with the governing NPP. You're still watching the polls. Still to come on the program, the Muslim community joins forces with Christian leaders to confront the rising wave of student indiscipline in schools across the country in a move aimed at safeguarding the future of Ghana's education system. That's what's coming up after the break. You're welcome back. Let's take you to the Upper East region, where flash floods have caused widespread destruction in the Aboso North municipality of the region, with Sandema, the municipal capital, among the hardest hit areas. Although the floodwaters receded within hours, the damage left behind is significant. Some farms have been washed away, livestock lost, and several homes and businesses affected, leaving many residents counting their losses. The Municipal Assembly, together with the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has begun assessing the extent of the destruction and identifying those in need of urgent assistance. Our resident correspondent, Aboso, is joining me right now from that region for more on this. Albert, what is the current situation there?
Yes, Kenneth. So the floods have receded, and those areas that are seriously affected, the residents in those areas are now basically trying to gather what little they can that is left of their property. What is happening in the area is that there's this section just before you enter the Sandema township, which is sort of in a slope. And almost every year when it starts raining seriously, that particular road almost gets washed away. And the residences around it on each side almost get submerged anytime there are rains. So in this particular instance, this year, this is about the second or third time we are seeing this area getting seriously flooded. But what usually happens is that the floodwaters would recede after some few hours, but then the damage that's left behind is quite extensive. So you get the situation where people who have farms around the area lose the farms to the floodwaters because they get submerged. In some instances, we have the floodwaters bringing sand, a lot of sand, onto the farms and then covering the entire farm with sand. Then people who have livestock lose some of their livestock as well. And as you would see in some of the residential areas, a lot of the rooms get flooded and people lose their personal belongings.
Have there been people who have been displaced? And if yes, how many?
At the moment, from what we have gathered from the municipal chief executive, they are still on the ground trying to fully ascertain the extent of damage and to know the exact number of people who need immediate assistance. But you would see from some of the pictures that we have that some of the residents have basically lost the usual nature of their home. So some have their rooms in bad shape, some have properties that they've lost, and some are basically trying to recover and get back to what normal life usually is. The fear is that we are still in the month of August, and usually in this part of the region or this part of the country, when we enter the month of August and September, we tend to have a lot of torrential rains. And if we are not lucky and the Bagre Dam is also eventually spilled, we could have more serious situations in the next few weeks if the situation doesn't change.
Albert, sorry there. Thank you very much for speaking to us this afternoon. We've also reached out to Solomon Akwokti, who is the MC for the area, for comment, but have largely been unsuccessful. Away from that, the Ghana School Feeding Program says it has fixed one of its long-standing problems, late payments to caterers. The program said the delays, which used to run across several payment cycles, have largely been addressed. Speaking at a training forum for the program, officials and coordinators of the National Coordinating Council, Hajia Fatih Fogo, said the program has gone through major reforms in the last year and a half. Apologies for our inability to play you that visual. You're still watching The Pulse. We'll return from the break with more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. The growing indiscipline among students, particularly in senior high schools, is causing deep concern within both the Muslim and Christian communities, with leaders demanding urgent and decisive action. Against this backdrop of the troubling development, leaders of the two faiths have gathered in Accra to adopt concrete measures to address the situation, with support expected from key stakeholders, including the Ghana Education Service. At the fourth Ghana Muslim Leaders and Catholic Bishops Dialogue, the religious leaders described the worsening conduct of students as a serious national crisis that threatens discipline, moral values, and the future of the country's educational system, insisting that immediate intervention is no longer an option. Take a listen to the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Usman Nuhu Shaributu.
Through dialogue, we achieve the openness of the mind and the closeness of the heart. My dear brothers and sisters, the theme for this year, dialogue, could not have been chosen at a better time. There is growing concern about the spate of indiscipline plaguing us all in all facets of our national life. Of even greater concern and worry to the government, society, and stakeholders in education is the specter of gross indiscipline and hooliganism in our educational space. Currently, there is a raging public debate about how to curb the menace. The choice of the theme, therefore, is a demonstration of our shared concern and commitment to explore every available means to cure the malady, both in the medium and the long terms. To that effect, a joint working committee would be set up to see to the implementation of the recommendations of this meeting. The committee will be tasked to draw up an action plan, mobilize resources, and execute the action plan and report successes and failures or challenges during the next dialogue meeting in 2027.
And my colleague Fatal Bayaga has been monitoring the dialogue and is joining me in the studio with more on this. Fatal, the president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference, was also there. What did he say?
Ken, so the president spoke about the fact that indiscipline is becoming a major challenge for this country. In fact, he described it as one of Ghana's pressing challenges, and it needs immediate attention. In fact, he recounted some of the incidents that have happened recently, and he said that that's the reason why the Muslim community, the Christian community, they've come together to fight this particular canker. In fact, they also made references in relation to what happened in Aboso today, among other things, and based on that, to say that it is now very important for the country to come together to tackle this very important issue that is now wrecking hard into Ghana's education system. We can take a listen to him.
Invite all of us to reflect together on one of the most pressing challenges facing Ghana today. Indiscipline of students is not merely a question of bad behavior or broken rules. It points to a deeper issue, the kind of human person we wish to form. A nation is not built by skilled professionals alone, but by women and men of integrity, capable of discerning what is right, choosing it freely, and placing their talents at the service of the common good. And this is precisely where religions, like Muslims and Christians, have an indispensable mission. Despite the diversity of our traditions, we share a fundamental conviction that education is sacred and it's our responsibility to do so. To educate a child is not merely to transmit knowledge, but to help him or her grow in wisdom.
Fatal Bayaga is still in the studio with me. Fatal, the local government minister, Ahmed Ibrahim, was also present. What did he tell you?
Ken, so Ahmed Ibrahim basically said that, indiscipline is a major challenge. In fact, he also spoke about the fact that he observed or he witnessed some of these indiscipline among students in the various senior high schools. And he compared that to, back in the days, he said that discipline was, one of the major things that students would abide by school rules, among other things. But it looks like at the moment that is being deteriorated. And he spoke about the fact that now, because of the cancellation of RME, religious and moral education, and also PTA, he said that because all of these important things that were supporting to, in a way, shape or reshape students, because they are taken out, it's now, in a way, affecting the upbringing of children, among other things. And that's the reason why we are seeing a lot of these, vandalism, among other things, in various senior high schools. So basically, he said that there's the need for these groups now to come together to help the government in fighting this situation.
Fatal Bayaga, thank you very much. Well, let's now head to the Ashanti region, where the Oforikrom Municipal Assembly has assumed responsibility for the funding, management and supervision of several stalled development projects previously awarded and managed by the central government. The intervention follows concerns that weak consultation and inadequate local oversight contributed to project delays and abandonment across communities in the municipality. Under a new arrangement, the central government has allocated 20% of the District Assembly's common fund dedicated to completing abandoned projects, with municipal assemblies taking greater control of implementation. Here's a report by Clinton Yabua.
The projects described by the Oforikrom Assembly as legacy projects include a new municipal administration block, a court complex, a judge's bungalow, a municipal chief executive's bungalow, and a 14-seater toilet facility. These projects, due to lack of direct local oversight, coupled with delayed payments from central government during the previous administration, resulted in some contractors suspending work and abandoning project sites. The municipal chief executive of Oforikrom, Sadat Ahmed, indicated that completing the projects would reduce the Assembly's operational expenditure and improve access to public services.
It's really draining us. It's really draining us because every year our budget line we have to include or absorb the renting of these assembly block and other offices, even our light bills. Now, if you are all coming to live on one common compound, I think it will shrink off some of our burdens. We have all the money in our coffers right now. Even if today the contractor is able to do a work just 10 or 20%, 100%, the money is in the account. 2026, 2027, we are lucky that we are able to finish all our abandoned projects. That is when you initiate a new legacy project as your own.
The Oforikrom Municipal Assembly told the project sites to assess the pace of work completed and engage the contractors on timelines for resumption. A contractor with BB Videk, Mohammed Awal, said an initial assessment showed that completing the affected projects would not be technically difficult.
We have done a fiscal assessment of certain aspects of the building. We have in mind how we want to approach it. But because we have a contract, all those things has to be documented. We have to write to the clients through their consultants. And whatever has to be done at that point, we'll get it done. But we are sure that whatever these buildings, we've worked on some of them before, we have experience in how to handle the structure. So it won't be a problem.
Meanwhile, the NDC Communications Officer for Oforikrom, Jerry James, says the intervention is consistent with President John Mahama's commitment to complete stalled public infrastructure projects.
And then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, before Ghanaians should vote for him, he had a commitment, a covenant with the good people of Ghana to finish all abandoned projects because it is the taxpayers' money and we have to. Some are 6 months, 4 months, and we are assuring the good people of Oforikrom constituency that just as His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said, we are committed to making sure Oforikrom constituency, in fact, is being clothed with a positive and then a very attractive garment.
Some residents express optimism that the completion of the project will improve access to local government services.
Oh, that boy. I'm a young Juma, better matter not to few meet by credit in the Beboy, the extra Muhammad say, on Benin to Mamma. Now you swear the prom of Fanny, there be at another Juma.
For Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabua.
Away from the Ashanti region, Ghana's tourism industry may soon be expanding beyond its castles, beaches and wildlife parks, with a new push to develop the country's rich geological heritage into a major tourism product. Tourism stakeholders, government and geoscientists have begun discussions on a national geotourism program that could transform sites such as Lake Bosomtwe, waterfalls, caves, mountains and ancient rock formations into world-class attractions while creating jobs, supporting local communities and promoting environmental conservation. The initiative is also expected to diversify Ghana's tourism offerings and attract a new category of visitors interested in science, nature and adventure tourism. Let's get more on this, and joining me is the president of the Ghana Tourism Federation, Seth Okran. Seth, welcome to the program. Ghana has promoted its cultural heritage and wildlife for decades, but why do you believe geotourism is the new frontier for the country's tourism industry?
Thank you very much for having me, and let me say good afternoon to your cherished listeners. Yes, I think that Ghana is blessed thou with so many things, and over the years we have focused so much on slavery and all that happened. So you realize that we attract most of our tourists from the America because our brothers and sisters that wanted to trace their roots. And I think that is okay, but you will agree with me that on the 26th March, President Mahama laid a paper on the UN General Assembly on reparation, which for me, Ghana have led the way again. So GATOF, Ghana Tourism Federation, which is the umbrella body or the mouthpiece of the private sector tourism operators, think that let's expand the scope beyond the slave trade and all that. And our meeting with the Geoscience Department of University of Ghana and Ghana Tourism Development Company, in fact, Fred, you'll be amazed what we can do with this site. First time for myself hearing that Lake Bosontri is over 1 million 7 years, you know. But you know what? The story we always tell, the hunter went hunting and all that, which go deeper than that. Right. So we working with Geoscience Department, Ghana Tourism Development Company to see how we will expand training. As part of GATOF initiative leading the private sector is to promote domestic tourism. And each community or each region is unique with something. And when you talk about Ashanti region and Lake Bosontri, it's very unique, but the story is limited. So when we bring the academia on board, which research work that they have done over the years, and train our tour guides to package, of course, our tour operators also, to package these things and sell abroad, this will enhance also our domestic tourism that we are pushing, because I believe that I call it Discover Ghana, Discover You. Our students supposed to be knowing our country, and we are coming out with a package that the student can learn. It should be part of the educational curriculum. It should be part of our learning. Enough of the English, science, and math and all that. We should know our culture, our heritage, and that is what will make us proud. So GATOF is leading this initiative to add to our tourism assets and go to Shai Hills, the history, the stories, and all that. And this, we believe, will promote domestic tourism and will diversify our tourism portfolio to attract the European market, to attract other races that basically they won't be interested in our slave trade, Cape Coast Castle. Then Ghana have more than that, and that is what we seek to bring to the public. Yep.
Right. One of the flagship proposals is the development of Lake Bosontri into world-class geotourism destination. What economic opportunities could this create for surrounding communities and for Ghana's tourism sector as a whole?
Oh, a lot, because developing the Lake Bosontri and you agree with me that when a tourist visits a community, they sleep over, and we have to create or give them reason to spend more days, and they will spend more days based on the activities that we are able to create. So if Lake Bosontri is developed to that level that have resorts around it, good restaurants, recreational and activities, every tourist want to stay there. And of course, that will also promote the Ashanti Kingdom, because the Ashantis already have rich culture. So adding this geoscience tourism to it will be wow. So job creation, those who are selling craft food and all that. So, and of course, this will also help reduce urbanization. That is why I said GATOF will identify each region, what you have, which is very unique, and package it, get investors to develop it, and the youth will get jobs to do, and therefore they will not seek to come to Accra. Like we are seeing, everyone is coming to Accra, which is choke. So we have to, and I think tourism is a way to create those jobs. And tourism is the only sector that put money into the community, you know, because we spend hard currency. Sometimes they want to even pay in foreign currency if the laws allow us to receive dollars here. So it's a community base, it's target the people. And I talked about training earlier. Once the people are trained and they know the value of what they have, like Lake Bosontri, and they add that value to it, you know what happened. Let me just divert a little bit. When you go to Labade, after Labade Beach, they call it La Boma, right? That enclave, right? I don't know the last time you've been there, but they have different.
I live around.
And, exactly. And look at, in the evening when you go there, it's like a different world, right? Because of what? It's a beachfront. So you can see people paddling canoe. How do we create activities, lake activities, and all that? That would be so interesting for students and the general public as well. So these are some of the things that wow people, apart from Cape Coast Castle, the slavery. And of course, Ghana also is the center of the world, which is not far from here. So we are trying to package Ghana. And if you come to Ghana, we should have at least 3 major festivals. Currently, the popular one is December GH.
Right.
Which we know. We're trying to establish something in March, which myself and the team are working around that. And you see, tourism is a multi-sectorial. We need the road people, we need the DVA, we need everyone on board to have a product that can promote Ghana. Looking at March, looking at August, and then December GH. Well, at least we have 3 major festivals that will drive traffic into our country. And building on the year of return, and building on beyond the return and the Black Star experience, now we have to create those experiences for people to come and see. Let me add to it that we are so blessed because I question that, is it coincidence? Ghana gained independence in March 1957, which Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, our independence is meaningless unless it's linked to total liberation of Africa. Ghana led the way at the time. In March 2026, again, President Mahama laid the reparation paper, which is accepted. 123 vote is a landmark thing. We shouldn't sit here and others should take the glory. Ghana is the gateway to Africa. And I want to see our airport having the Discover Ghana, Discover You with some Edinkra stories and all that. We should rebrand our airport. We should rebrand all our embassies because Ghana is a spiritual and healing gateway to Africa. And these are not just words. It's scientifically proven, geologically, whatever it is. It's the center of the world. So we are not telling our stories very well. And that is some of the initiatives GATOF, Ghana Tourism Federation, under my leadership, is leading. So the tour operators will get something to package and sell around the world. Our embassies, our high commissions, and everything that is Ghana, our airport, all that we can enhance it. So that is what the Federation is doing.
Seth Okran, grateful for your time this evening. He's the president of the Ghana Tourism Federation. When we return from the break, we talk about the Showbiz Roundtable, the 9th edition, that is coming up pretty shortly. That's what's coming up after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. And joining me today is a man whose voice and insight shape some of the most important conversations in Ghana's entertainment industry. He's the host of the GJA Best Radio Entertainment Show of the Year, Showbiz A to Z, and the respected force in the creative arts industry. And he's here to walk us through the 9th Showbiz Roundtable, which is happening this weekend.
I'm talking about Kwame Dadzi, and the Showbiz Roundtable has become one of Ghana's most authoritative spaces for industry reflection. Kwame, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the theme for this time. What inspired it?
So, you know, prior to the 2024 elections, we had a roundtable discussion. There was a debate between the NDC and the NPP, the creative artists in the areas.
I remember.
So we asked them to tell us what they would do if they won power, and the NDC won. So after 20 months of assuming power, we're asking the NDC government what they've done so far for the creative arts industry. And our industry comprises tourism, culture, and creative art. So yes, 20 months. We're not saying government should do everything they promised, but at least if they have laid some foundation, we want to know what they've done so far. Yeah.
Right. And what should listeners expect from this 9th edition, and how is this going to be different from the previous ones?
So they should expect critical analysis of the NDC's projects, activities so far. We know they've done a few things, some budgetary allocations here and there, but we're going to juxtapose that to the promises that they made to us prior to coming into office. And so Isaac Kofi-Addo, who is with the research department, will be on as well to do a presentation of promises and then track some of the things they've done so far. So that will be done. We're going to have some of the industry's greats on the panel. We have Francis Doku, who is the CEO of Maestro Africa Group. He will be on. And then Jesse Japon is a PR marketing executive. He's a communications expert. He'll be on as well. Olele Salvador is a pop culture journalist. We have Arnold Asamoah Bedu, also a journalist. We have Uncle Ken, who is a broadcaster with Joy FM.
Right.
Uncle Ken is on as well. Have I mentioned Jesse? Jesse is representing as well. Yeah, so 5 people coming through, and they're going to make sure they cover every aspect of the creative economy, from tourism to culture to creative arts. Yeah, so basically, we're just trying to look at what the government has done so far. We don't want to wait till the 4th or 3rd year before we try to raise questions and concerns about what the government has done so far.
And how do you envision this discussion will influence government's decision when it comes to the creative arts industry?
Ken, you know, the media is the 4th estate of government, we say, and over the years we've played a role in shaping conversations and policy making. Some time ago, the creative industry wasn't part of policy decisions, and so even when they were drafting their manifestos, we're not included. But due to some of these conversations on our radio programs, now we see our names and we see the creative industry being spoken about in the manifestos on their platforms. So we believe that this conversation is going to maybe put them in check and also remind them of the promises they made. You never know, through this conversation, maybe they're going to also speed up, if you like, some of the things they're doing for us. But sometimes, if you don't talk about the things they're doing, they tend to forget about us, and we're not going to relax in this regard.
Right. And how is audience participation like? Is it even something that's an option, and how do they get to participate?
So we are bringing in some of our stakeholders. They come in studio. So we do that right in our studio. We have about 15 to 20 stakeholders also coming as audience. And so apart from the 5 people on the panel, we have about 15 to 20 people also from the industry coming to support the event. And then those who can't make it and who be watching and listen from home, they can do that via our WhatsApp number, 05511119997. You can just send in your questions, your comments, anything you want to say regarding the topic for discussion. And then on the day, we find answers to that. Yeah.
What's the day and what's the time?
So it's happening this Saturday. Right, it will be live on Joy News, live on Joy Prime, and live on Joy 99.7 FM from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Yeah.
Right, any final words?
All that I want to say is if you're a creative industry stakeholder, if you are in the tourism, culture, creative arts space, this one is for you. For a long time, we've been talking about how best we can speak about what we're doing to make government also pay attention to us. This is ours. Let's come together and make our voices heard.
Kwame Datsi is the host of Showbiz A to Z. Thank you very much, Kwame. And as he's rightly mentioned, you want to be a part of that program that is coming off this Saturday. Away from that, the opposition New Patriotic Party has criticized government's recent fuel price intervention, arguing that while commercial drivers deserve support, the current measures are fiscally unsustainable and lack transparency. The party estimates the diesel relief and related interventions could result in about 1.3 billion cedis in foregone revenue, including roughly 400 million cedis from the month-long diesel intervention. It insists the measures merely cushions part of the increase in fuel prices and does not return consumers to the prices they paid at the beginning of last year. Co-chair of the party's policy committee, George Kwame Abuaji, addressed the press a while ago.
Consider the plain arithmetic. A consumer who has paid 1 cedi extra on every litre of petrol and diesel for more than a year now receives at best 2 cedi back on diesel for a single month and nothing at all on petrol. The 2 cedi reduction is not generosity. It is a partial temporary return to money already taken from consumers at midnight, while the levy takes it continues to run. While the levy that takes it continue to run. The true cost and who pays it. The government described the intervention as a reduction in the regulatory margin rather than a subsidy. That distinction matters legally, but not economically. Foregone revenue is still a cost. On the basis of the earlier diesel program, which cost 800 million cedis over 2 months, this one-month measure implies roughly 400 million cedis in foregone revenue. Adding the earlier petrol relief of 99.4 million cedis, the cumulative cost of the stated 2026 interventions comes to approximately 1.3 billion cedis.
Stephen Mensah was at that particular press conference and is joining me right now for more on this. Stephen, the party says consumers may not fully benefit from the relief unless there is a transparent mechanism. What safeguards are they really calling for?
Well, the party says government must, at a matter of urgency, produce some full disclosure of the petroleum price for every litre of fuel that has been given some subsidy. And it indicates that this is necessary to ensuring that the consumer is protected. We know that this will actually, with the introduction of these subsidies to the diesel and to some petroleum products, is going to ease up the conditions at the pumps. But then the NPP says government has to, as a matter of urgency, produce a full disclosure of all petroleum prices.
Without fiscal discipline is not sustainable policy. We call on the government to publish the full petroleum price build-up and the financing sources before implementation, to cap the intervention at a disclosed fiscal amount and report weekly on liters subsidized and revenue foregone, to prioritize targeted relief for public transport, food distribution, agriculture and fishing, rather than an indefinite universal subsidy, to apply automatic sunset clauses with objective crude price and exchange rate triggers, and to pay industry claims promptly so that this relief does not become the next generation of arrears. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the 2 cedis reduction may ease the pressure for a month, but a 1-month discount on diesel financed opaquely alongside a permanent levy taken at midnight and a downgraded energy sector is not an economic strategy. Ghanaians deserve to know who pays, how the relief is financed, and how the resulting revenue gap will be prevented from becoming new debt.
Let's go on to Zoom right now and speak to a member of the Finance Committee in Parliament, Ataisa, for more on this. Ataisa, welcome to the program. First of all, what do you make of that press conference that was addressed by the minority, your colleagues in Parliament a while ago?
Let me say good evening or good afternoon to all your viewers. Unfortunately, I'm driving, that's why I can't do a video call.
That's fine.
But I think today it is not different from the usual rhetoric that we've been seeing, always trying to play on the emotional keyboards of people. And I want us to set the record straight. I'll take the issues raised in the press conference this afternoon one by one, if there is time to, and I'll respond to them appropriately.
Right.
For example, I don't disagree with public scrutiny. It's important for our democracy. And we all know that energy cost has a pass-on effect on Ghanaians vis-a-vis the cost of living issues that we deal with as a country. So once the issues of fuel price increases, it has a ripple effect on even inflation. It has a ripple effect on farmers and the rest. So issues of this nature, people must look at it beyond the fuel politics that we have been engaging as a country. Now, if you look at the first point, the MPP position is that the 2 cedi per liter diesel reduction amounts to returning money previously collected through the 1 cedi energy sector levy. And it also suggests that the measure is contradictory because the levy remains in place. Look, first of all, the 2 cedi per liter reduction is a 1-month intervention. And we are doing it through a regulatory component of the petroleum price buildup. It is designed to cushion transporters and its rippling effect on operators, farmers, and other stakeholders of this country. So it is not accurate to say that it is not a repeal of the 1 cedi levy because they are not the same. This is a temporary intervention with the impact that we are seeking to improve the livelihood of our people. The 1 cedi levy, if you remember the time that we were passing it, we were very clear that the levy was to finance energy sector shortfalls and debt obligations. So they were already mounting energy sector debt in the country, and the IMF has cautioned the country against the increasingly debt unsustainable energy sector. So light crude oil was not part of the price buildup. So government thought of incorporating it in the price buildup. So how do you compare a legislation to that of an intervention like this, a short-term intervention? In any case, the levy is an act of parliament now. It is not in the mouth of President Mahama that he will sit through an executive instrument or through a press conference, a renounce or cancellation of a levy that was duly and constituted passed by Parliament of Ghana. So I think that the difference should be pointed out clearly to the minority.
Okay.
The second issue is that the minority claims that the MPP fuel prices in January 2025, the one we inherited, is comparable to the prices in August 2026. And they argue that the pump prices should have fallen because cedi appreciated from about 17.70 to 11.67 to the US dollar. Let me also state it very clearly here. Look, the comparison is misleading and is not born out of any statistical analysis. Pump prices, and for your listeners and the industry players know this, pump prices reflect international refined product prices. They also look at the freight cost, insurance, suppliers' premiums, and financing cost arrangement, and then the exchange rate, taxes and levies, and the regulatory. So a stronger cedi in itself does not reduce the local currency cost of imports. And also, it cannot fully offset sharp increases in the international world market price. Currently, as a result of the Iran and the US and the Israel conflict, Ghana do not have any control of the international refined oil. We are price takers. In a competitive market, we are price takers. We take what we get. And an increase in that one cannot easily be offset because your currency is performing. What about the free charges? What about the other components, margins and all those? So how do you determine that? So you don't use one element of the price builder formula for charging the export price to say that because exchange rate is doing well, we must see an equal and commensurate reduction in the export prices. And finally, before you come in, finally,
right.
I was very surprised with the ranking on the Energy Committee, making a street carpet statement to the effect that government is increasing the fuel levy from about 0.24 to 1.93 and argued that the promised refund framework for legitimate industrial users is either unclear or not operational. He was in that meeting. In fact, when the amendment came, Speaker referred the matter to the Finance Committee and leadership of the Energy Committee. He was sitting in the meeting, and it was very clear that day that the amendment seeks to address a long-standing rate differential. And I'll explain it between the fuel oil and the products such as diesel and marine gas. The difference here is that as a result of the price differential between what we pay as marine or diesel, people now did, as a result of tax planning, the fuel oil, they move all diesel and marine gas and classify them as fuel oil to take advantage of the tax saving. What the government seeks to do was that we wanted to reduce or remove the incentive for misclassification and also the diversion into the low rate category. If I know that if I classify my good as a diesel or marine oil, I pay higher. Meanwhile, if I classify it as a fuel oil, I pay lower. People will move all their classification items to fuel oil. What we have done has not led to any increase in fuel cost or anything. Okay. This is just more parity. So that if you do classification as a result of fuel, marine gas, or fuel oil, you don't get any tax benefit out of that. Right. It is to ensure that we have parity. It is to ensure that we remove the incentive for people to diversify fuel and cheat government at the end of the day. That was the purpose of the legislation, and they must get this right.
Right. Well, they also raised other concerns. One of them is that how is this being financed, and also what will be the impact on government revenue? So how much are we likely to lose within the 1 month period that government is subsidizing diesel?
So I will say that, first of all, the final cost depends on the eligible liters that will consume within the period. So I don't think it is anybody who will make that argument will be doing a hearsay. But let me also be quick to add that most of the time, governance is about fiscal adjustment. The minority position on fiscal adjustment is always to increase revenue. Our concept of fiscal adjustment is always to ensure that we spend what we have. If, as a result of this intervention to cushion the livelihoods of our people, there is a shortfall in revenue, what government seeks to do will be to measure it against our expenditure. We are not in the habit of creating unnecessary fiscal deficit. We are going to spend within budget, and that's why when the Minister of Finance came, despite all the external sector concerns, government still wanted to remain within the budget. So as a result of this 1 month intervention, any revenue shortage that can arise out of that, the government is something that we can deal with to make sure that we do not increase the fiscal cost on our country, and we do not make sure that we saddle the country with more arrears. And finally, before you go, look, if I had not done it, it would have pained me. The energy sector debt, it pains me when the MPP present the energy sector burden as something that has just come or is an evidence of a worsening energy sector crisis. Look, the energy sector crisis did not begin in 2025 or 2026. The IMF documentaries in their third review records arrears to independent power producers and fuel suppliers to about 2.6% of our GDP at the end of 2024. It also records the energy sector budget transfers averaging 1.7% of GDP between 2019 and 2021. By the end of 2024, the sector was already burdened with unpaid obligations, high distribution weaknesses, weak collection system, and expensive generation contracts and delayed reforms. The IMF reported it under their fourth review also in October 2024 that government has deviated significantly from the fiscal reforms under the energy sector. So the 2026 mid-year review, if you remember, almost 7.7 billion Ghana cedis in the proceeds, and then 6.9 billion in the energy sector shortfall payment had been honored. And that is the way governance goes. So if you say IMF has described the country as something that we are not doing well with the fiscal performance in the energy sector, you must look at the records. The records is very clear. And if you look at my last reference goes to the IMF documentation again. Look, this is what the IMF had to say. The IMF and the budgetary and negotiated settlement of IPPs and fuel supply. That was just last week, Monday, when they met to approve our thing. They said that the budgetary and negotiated settlement of IPPs and fuel supply obligation is commendable. Continuous operation of the cash waterfall mechanisms is on course. Energy sector levy collection dedicated to shortfall and debt repayment purposes is strictly ahead. Appointment in June 2026 of the transaction advisor for private sector participation in ECG and NETCO distribution is highly commendable. Proposed net reduction ceiling for energy sector payables under the fiscal program is on course. Gas to power purchase measures to reduce the use of expensive liquid fuel and lower generation costs is highly recommended. This is the verdict of the IMF in the performance of the government when it comes to the energy sector. You bedevil this country with huge debt in the energy sector, resulting into a haircut of pensioners and the rest. You don't have any right to say when government is bringing a cushion to Ghanaians, then you have an issue with it. Thank you for that.
You say that this will not increase the fiscal burden, but the minority is estimating that we're going to lose about 1.3 billion cedis in revenue. So how do we bridge that gap, especially when this was not budgeted for in the latest budgets that we had?
So like I said, fiscal adjustment is a function of two tools. Fiscal adjustment, one is the fact that you either deal with your expenditure or your revenue. So if you are getting a revenue shortfall, you must commensurate it with an expenditure cut where you think that you can do with subsequently. November, we'll be coming back for the 2027 budget. So I don't think any of these things should have a direct fiscal cost on government. The fiscal cost in this case is shortage of revenue. But at the same time, it can be offset by a commensurate reduction in your expenditure. Some of the expenditures are multi-year expenditure that can be pushed into the 2027 budget. So the calculation in any case that they did is even poorly arithmetically done. You don't assume a specific volumes of liters that will be consumed within the 1 month, and you multiply it by 2 cities. That is so basic. They don't do things like that. So I think that it is just to scare rumor-mongering and to always take advantage of situations. They know that this is a good measure to cushion the Ghanaians. They were the same people saying that we should abolish the 1 cedi levy. They were the same people saying that we should bring a social safety net to cushion the Ghanaian public against the escalating price of fuel. Now today, 2 cedi has been slashed off the price of diesel. And now they are the same people saying that what is the fiscal cost and it will worsen our fiscal deficit. What type of people are we dealing with?
Right. Ataisa, grateful for your time this evening. He is a member of the Finance Committee in Parliament with the NDC. Well, still on politics, Minority Leader and Member of Parliament for Ifutu, Alexander Afenyomarkin, has reaffirmed his commitment to equipping teachers for the demands of a digital world, describing laptops as indispensable tools for effective teaching. Under his One Teacher, One Laptop initiative, which began in 2018, he has procured 100 laptops and distributed 79 laptops to teachers in Ifutu, with the remaining 21 to be handed over to other beneficiaries when school reopens. He says the donation was driven by requests from teachers themselves, insisting it is an investment in those who shape the nation's future, stressing that a single laptop, when properly used, can significantly improve lesson delivery and productivity.
May this tool never sit idle in a bag. May it become the extension of your dedication, a device through which better lessons plans are born, faster results are recorded, wider knowledge is accessed, and ultimately, brighter futures are built for the children of Ifutu. I charge each one of you, therefore, receiving one today, to see it as my personal investment in you, and to let that investment yield return in the form of better prepared lessons, more efficient record keeping, and ultimately improved outcomes for every child under your care. This initiative, as you've already been told, which began in 2018, and others like it will continue. Ifutu's teachers will always find in me a listening ear and a willing partner.
The Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy is calling for consistency in the enforcement of laws governing political speech, warning that selective application could undermine freedom of expression and erode public confidence in Ghana's justice system. Speaking at a press conference, research fellow at the Institute, Godwin Asari Bediako, said Ghana's political history has seen both the NDC and NPP subjected to harsh personal attacks and unsubstantiated allegations, many of which did not result in criminal prosecution.
More than 2 weeks ago, an Accra Circuit Court sentenced content creator Camilla Alasan to a 1-year custodial sentence following allegations and defamatory remarks he made online regarding President John Dramani Mahama. While we maintain unreserved respect for the rule of law and the constitutional independence of the judiciary, this verdict forces us to confront a critical question. Where do we draw the line between regulating malicious false news and safeguarding robust political expression? In a thriving democracy like Ghana's, justice must not only be done, it must be seen as consistent, fair, and free from selective application, regardless of which political power holds power. The pattern of political rhetoric in the Fourth Republic. To fully appreciate the gravity of sentencing citizens over political commentary, we must look honestly at the broader history of political rhetoric in Ghana. For decades, key figures on both sides of the political divide, as NPP and NDC, have engaged in deeply inflammatory personal and unchecked attacks against public offices. A democracy cannot survive if the standard for free speech changes depending on who holds the presidency.
Nifa Senior High School have brought Akufo-Addo School's 4-year reign at the NSMQ National Championship to a stunning end, pulling off a major upset in the Eastern Regional qualifiers. Akufo-Addo had virtually been untouchable on the regional stage, securing a place at the Nationals in every edition between 2022 to 25. But the road to a 5th straight appearance has ended abruptly. Collins Frimpong has more.
That's Nifa Senior High School, who just put up extraordinary performance here at Achimota Senior High School, where we are having the Eastern Regional qualifiers. They just defeated Akufo-Addo Senior High Secondary School, who have been at the National Championship since 2022. This time around, they will be there in 2026.
You should expect great things, because these 3 boys are reincarnation of the great contestants that passed, you understand? So like Benedict, for instance, he's coming from Presec, but this one, he has entered the Edukrum Premiership. You understand? The increase, Grace, like a reincarnation of Eden. Have you know Eden? Yes. And then this boy, you don't talk about him.
Are you not bragging?
Yeah.
Are you not bragging?
Oh, no. I'm not bragging, but I know what you can bring out.
Thank you. Quick one. Let me hear from you. Benedict, I don't know. You were the 3 guys on the stage. How was the feeling? You've eliminated Akufo-Addo.
I mean, it was quite a tough contest, but by the grace of God, we were able to come out successfully, and we want to tell Akufo-Addo that it's not any big deal. I mean, national championship next year they can come back stronger.
All right, but national championship coming up in a few weeks. What should we expect from you and the school?
Expect nothing but the best from us.
Right, grateful. So that's the first senior high school. Quick one, let me hear from the school that most people will be expecting to win or progress to the national championship, but that wasn't the case. Hi, senior. I know it's difficult, but how is the feeling like at the moment?
Although it's a quiz, anything can happen. So we give thanks to the Almighty Lord. That's all hot I can see.
What sort of confidence or motivation will you give them?
So I will tell them that, I'll encourage them that they should learn hard. They shouldn't be distracted by anything. They should keep on learning.
Thank you. I saw you during the contest. Emotionally, you were having a roller coaster. How is the feeling like at the moment, seeing that your school is not progressing?
Oh, normal. At least we came to contest and we done something, so it's okay.
Right, so this is what happened here at Achimota Senior High School. For Akumoman, they will have to wait if they can qualify as one of the top 30 schools that will progress to the national championship coming up in a few days.
Let's head to the Volta region now, where schools from the Otu enclave are also battling for a place at the 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz Championship. Ramat Bashir is on standby with more. Ramat, what's the latest from the Volta region?
Ken, for now, the Volta regional qualifiers ended yesterday with 12 schools able to secure qualification to represent the Volta region at the national stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz Championship 2026. Today, we started with the Otu regional qualifiers. It's been a lot of excitement for the schools who've been able to qualify to the national stage. Heartbreak, suspense, and anticipation for the schools who were unable to qualify to the national stage, especially among the supporters. Some of them, the interesting thing about the Volta regional qualifiers was that all the schools who were able to win their round from round 1 to 3, when we get to the Redo round, which carries a lot of marks, the schools were unable to answer major of the Redo questions. And so the people who were just behind them in the round just answer the questions and they take over. To end the Otu regional qualifiers, we had Aztec qualifying to the national stage. And for them, their message was just simple. They are ready to cook. They say they will cook every school they are going to meet at the national stage.
Boom. With 52 points, KJB Asato Senior High School, they've been able to secure the second ticket to qualify to the national stage of the 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz Championship. Take me through how you feel.
Oh, you see, today's contest, I was expecting thousands of points, but you know, Jesus Christ came to advise us. He said we should just take it easy, you know. You see, but you know, my most appreciation goes to God. God has done a lot, have taken us through. My other greetings goes to our coordinator. Because of the training we have been through, because of our coordinator, we have been able to succeed through this. But you know, I was expecting thousands of points, but Jesus Christ, yeah.
That's it for the pause this evening. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Business Live comes up next with Pius. Stay tuned.